You're listening to Packers Talk Network.
PackersTalk.com.
Welcome to the Packers Weekly Podcast, part of PackersTalk.com network. I am your host, Miles Teddick, joined by your co-host, Tim Hamilton. We are diehard Packers fans that just love talking about the Pack. We are not getting into all the national sports media talking points and nonsense they waste their time on. We are sticking with real football, diving into the top topics around the Pack every week, breaking down games during the season and sorting through all the drama and the rumors in the draft of the offseason. If y'all want to support the pod, please spike that like button for us. Most importantly, jump on over to the Packers Talk Network YouTube channel. Hit that little subscribe button for us with a little bell next to it. It makes a huge difference. Really helps us a lot. Only takes you a few seconds. Really, you could do it right now. Just go on over there. Come on back. You haven't missed anything. And there you go. It's done. And you've helped us tremendously. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get to keep talking Pack again next week. We'll see. But, of course, we should cover some business before we get into all the fun stuff. We've got a big Lions win to talk, or excuse me, Packers over the Lions win to talk about. Micah Parsons, of course. I mean, you just go down the line. There's just all sorts of things to talk about. Plays being made by playmakers all over the place. And then, we got a short week and we got the Commanders coming in. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit too. But first, our show is once again sponsored by Wisconsin's own Ticket King. If for over 30 years, Ticket King has been providing Packers tickets to Packers fans, as well as Bucks tickets, Brewers tickets, all the other tickets you're looking for. You can find them on the web at theticketking.com or visit their locations in Green Bay and Milwaukee. Remember, support those local businesses, all of them, Wisconsin and alike. And Tim, good evening, sir. I don't have to ask how you're doing. How much did you enjoy that win? How much did you just enjoy watching every bit of that?
That was awesome. For a season opener, I mean, I know it's only week one, but that might have been a statement game, right?
Statement.
That was awesome. Didn't expect that. I thought they could win the game. We both picked them last week, but I wasn't expecting it to go like that, where they just dominated the Lions the entire game. It really was never in doubt. And they whooped their ass up front, especially defensively, just dominated. And they did to the Lions a lot of the things that the Lions have been doing to the Packers the last few years. So it was nice to finally turn that all around. And they won one division game last year. It's important to win these games, really important. And they've been talking about it. They've been mentioning division support, and we got to bounce back from last year. Well, they put it out there. They showed how important it was to them and took control of it. So as far as wins go, season opening wins, that was awesome to watch.
Yeah, I really don't think I've enjoyed watching a Packers game that much since the last time they beat up on the Cowboys in Jerry World in 2023. Oh boy, that was a sweet one. That was a lot of fun to watch. But this one, man, they mean very different things, right? Obviously at opposite ends of the season. But you're starting off the season against the Detroit Lions, who I think everybody agrees had a shot to be in the Super Bowl last year if they were healthy. They lose their coordinators, but they still have their talented core intact. I mean, the way you handle the Lions, are the Packers not the team to beat in the NFC now?
Based on that, they sure look like they're going to be, right? And again, it's week one, and who knows how any of this is going to play out. And it could be, you could look back on this and say, wow, we were wrong about things. But I don't know. I mean, you saw pretty much everything you wanted to see from this team. Yeah, they got a lot of area for improvement, but the fact that they can improve so much and they played that good of a game, especially defensively, I mean, that's a great sign. So are they the team to beat in the division? I still say it's the Lions because they've been winning the division the last couple of years. But man, the Packers took it to them. They physically, defensively, they physically beat up on the Lions, and you don't see teams do that. So yeah, the tide's turning, and I think the Lions. I still think they're a good team and talent on both sides. Losing those two coordinators, the changes on the offensive line, that's big. And maybe they figure it out. It's a long season. This was the first week. Packers got them at a good time for that, but I'm not sure all of it's fixable. The Jared Goff we saw yesterday, captain check down. Boy, I mean that's a lot different than the Jared Goff we've been seeing the last couple of years with good play caller and a creative, well-designed scheme. Like, there was none of that yesterday. He looked rattled. He looked afraid to throw the ball down the field or take a chance or try to make a play for his team. Packers were all over him, and if that continues, yeah, the Packers can win the division for sure.
No, I mean, I'm talking conference, man. Division's already
You're already locking it up.
They're the division champs. They're the ones you've got to unseat, and you just did it decisively. Now, obviously, there's more games to be played, but for the data that we've got, no, the Packers are obviously the team to beat in the North. I don't think there's any question about that at this point, especially watching these two jokes on my TV here tonight. They're just a circus there. But anyway.
I mean, I think in the conference, the reigning Super Bowl champs are in their conference, and they won too, right? And I still think they have the best roster, best 53. So they're the team to beat. Until somebody can dethrone the Eagles, they're the team to beat. So I can't put the Packers there, but are they among those teams that are in contention that could beat the Eagles? Yeah, absolutely. And I think looking around the conference yesterday, they were the most impressive team, especially when you consider who they were playing. Like, there wasn't a lot of great football. There wasn't anybody where I was like, man, watch out for that team.
True.
It wasn't a whole lot of. Again, it's week one; things are going to change. But yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles are the team to beat, to answer your question. But after that, I think the Packers are probably next in line.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Fair enough if you want to say Eagles because, they're reigning champs and all that. I'm riding current data. And the Eagles team that I watched play the Cowboys, and now granted they were without one of their best defensive players, who might not be the smartest guy in the room. But still, I don't know. Like that team doesn't strike fear in me. I don't watch the Eagles offense and go, gosh, how do you stop them? I think that the Packers would have answers for that. And I certainly don't look at the Eagles defense and go, oh gosh, how do you score on them? Yeah, they're tough, sure. But this Packers team they're equipped to take on anybody right now. I just don't look across the league and see anybody that goes, oh man, I just think the Packers are outmatched in that one. I don't see it. Now, I'm very much on a biased cloud 9 right now. But, when you look at the way that they performed across the board, it's very exciting. Things will change week to week. Injuries happen, all that kind of stuff. But right now, the things that the Packers have going for them are very exciting. No doubt about it. And I if I'm making a power ranking, I'm putting them ahead of the Eagles.
Okay. I mean, I think I see your points, and I think if they can continue to play defense like they did on Sunday consistently, they can beat anybody for sure. Like if that's what they're going to be defensively, yeah, because I trust the offense. I think Jordan Love looked really good, at least for the first half. I know it was kind of, hit or miss in the second half. They didn't look great offensively, but he looked awesome. He looked comfortable and confident. The ball was coming out of his hands on time. He was throwing some lasers out there. Like he looked really good. And if that's the Jordan Love we're going to get with that defense, watch out. Because, there were deep plays in the passing game. The pass protection was really good. They didn't run the ball well, but I think that's a combination that he played it, good front, some big guys up there for the lines, and it'll come. Like Josh Jacobs is too good of a back. He's going to make his yards. I think the offensive line will come along. The run blocking will get better.
Well, he stuck with it too. He kept sticking his nose in there, and he still got a score, and he still, I think, got the yards when he needed them and when it counted. But yeah, that I think will come along.
Yeah, and if that's the defense that they're going to be, and that's what Jordan Love's going to be this year, yeah, look out. I mean, they're a contender.
No doubt about it. We got some friends joining us here tonight. Our friend R. Showers from North Carolina, LFG, plus the Vi Queens looking like absolute trash on both sides of the ball. Who could ask for more? I could ask for more. I could ask for a tie out of this guy. That's what I would ask for. This is the only situation in football I ever hope for a tie. It's when these two jokes play each other. But here we go. Good evening, Bill Patsis. He says, good evening, gents. Good to see you, sir. Glad you're with us. Chris, the casual in, says, wow. I'm thinking you're talking about the Packers beating the Lions, sir, and I feel the same way. And, yeah, so we got, let's see, our buddy Matthew Tan as well. He says, I knew it. Packers are back. Yes, it is official. So here we are. Here we are. Now, let's dive into this game a little bit. I mean, we can't. Let's just kick off in the obvious direction, right? The MICAH Parsons effect. It cannot be denied. I mean, it was obvious from snap one when he entered the game, was it not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can just see the team is more juiced for him. When he comes on the field, the defense is hyped. Like they know what he is and how good he's going to be for them, and it's a noticeable difference. They haven't had a guy that can win that quickly in a long time, right? I mean, prime Clay Matthews, maybe we got to go further back than that, but they haven't had a guy that can win that quickly, and not only that quickly, but he can win in so many different ways. He's got moves, he's got power, he's got speed. Yeah, he was really good, and it was a limited role, and I think his impact and his numbers are going to be better as he gets going. But I mean, the guy's practiced 4 times since the end of last season. Like he hasn't had that much time. I think they're treating probably this first 4 games because they have 4 games and then a bye week. I think that's the ramp up period. That's kind of like his preseason, and then turn him loose after the bye week. And I think LaFleur even said after the game that they played him more than they were expecting to. But I think that's because the score was what it was, and it was pass rush situation. So he was out there hunting down golf. But yeah, it's in the limited role that he played. It's really impressive, and it's just going to get better. And it makes everybody around him better. I mean, the attention that he gets and the focus of the offenses. I mean, you could see it at first. They were going one-on-one, thinking Sewell could get it done, and he couldn't. And then they started helping Sewell. And it just opens up things for everyone else. And the defensive line looks so much better than it did at any point last year. The improvement there. And again, hopefully that continues. It's only 1 game. But such improvement along the defensive line. And Parsons was a huge part of that.
He absolutely was. There's no doubt. You could feel the difference when he was in the game. And, I heard the stats. I don't know them off the top of my head, but Goff was definitely better when Parsons was not in the game by, I think, quite a bit. But, yeah, you could just feel it. You could feel the juice that the other guys had. They were just excited to play with a guy like this. There's a lot going on there. In the locker room, and it feels very authentic. This does not feel like some kind of forced thing where, yeah, we're in the honeymoon period. We just love each other, man. I'm so glad to be here. Like it doesn't feel like that to me. It kind of feels like, hey man, we got a good team here. We're doing this thing. And if you joined us, it'd be pretty cool. And he did. And it's like, oh dang. All right. Like, let's go. Let's do this thing. Let's move along. So I think, yeah, you're probably right as far as the ramp up goes, but the impact being felt for, just absolutely from snap one is awesome. And I think that's the indicator that, this season could be special right now. Like Packers fans, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Like this is why we fan. This is why we do what we do. The Packers play well. They lift all them weights in the off season so they can play well. We read all the articles, we listen to all the podcasts, we do all the fan stuff for times like this. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of fans across the NFL right now that wish that their team was doing what the Packers are doing. So just soak it in, take it all in. If you want to overreact, Super Bowl or bust, baby. That's where I'm at. Let's get on the train. I'll drive it. Let's go. But when you add a player like MICAH Parsons, it takes things like what Goot says about urgency from being press conference speak to actually meaning something to the locker room, right? So and don't think that those players don't listen to what he says and that stuff. They do. They may not be glued to it, but they hear him, right? When he says things, when Goot says things, when LaFleur says things, they hear those things. And so, when they hear him say sense of urgency, and then he goes off and does something like this, that's the boss telling you that he's all in. That's the boss telling you, hey, my neck's on the line here too, right? Like I'm voluntarily putting my neck on the line here because I believe in you guys. All right. Like you guys, I see you and it looks awesome. So I'm going to do this. And I think they all heard that and were like, let's all get on board and let's do this. And it's an energy that is just palpable. So I can't. I mean, I'm fired up that they've got a short week. To be honest with you, like the fact that they get to play on Thursday night, man, it's like don't even think about this. You know what? Like go back, watch the film, learn what you got to learn, but ride this high, this emotional wave that you're on, and carry it right on in against the Commanders. But I'm very, very excited, and I do believe that. And I think somebody said it in the chat. I can't remember who it was, but the thunder and just the welcoming that Lambeau had for Parsons was just awesome. And I could only imagine. I could hear it on video. I can only imagine what it's like being there. I've heard some pretty thunderous moments at Lambeau.
Yeah,
but I got to imagine that was up there.
Yeah, it was, and I mean on his sack where you could see him coming. Right, and you could hear the crowd, and you could hear the crowd just start going crazy as he's chasing down Goff. And the speed he showed to chase him down, that was incredible. How fast he was running, and he, to get there, and then the ovation once he brought him down. The crowd fed off of it, the team's feeding off of it, and you could really tell that it hyped everybody up. And yeah, that was a special time. And his introduction, the sack, those were special moments. First time he came on the field and everybody could see him jog out there and knew it was third down. He was in there. And the impact he made in the game, that was a special game. Special time to be in Lambeau to witness that. And the team feels it. Like you can see it. They know how good he is, how special of a player, and what it represents that they got him, from an organization standpoint of urgency and we're ready to go, we're ready to contend, we're going to get you a guy like this. But just hey, they're willing to go out and get a special talent like Parsons. It just raises everything, raises the expectations, but it just raises the energy in the entire locker room, right, and the entire organization. And that was on display on Sunday against the Lions for sure.
Yeah, you can feel it through the entire locker room, I think, and I'm very, very excited right now. I keep doing the pinch me thing. It was like, gosh, he's really a Packer. Oh my gosh, really, and it's not AI.
And he's only going to get better. I mean,
he's only going to get better.
Yeah, it's the first time he's played real football since the end of last season, and he's had 4 practices with the back injury. So it's going to get better. And what it could be could be pretty incredible.
Well, could it be the best defense in the NFL?
We'll see.
I say yes. I say if you are a top 10 defense, which they were last year, without Micah Parsons, you are possibly the best defense in the NFL with Micah Parsons. I think that's a fair statement. And that's another year of development with Edger and Cooper. We're all kind of like, hey, potential all-pro season here. I know there was already some people saying this looks like some all-pro film. I was watching some of his highlights, and boy, does he look good. Evan Williams, another one. Is he an all-pro safety? Do you have 2 all-pro safeties? Man, that sounds like the best defense in the NFL to me. I don't know. It's early.
Yeah, it's Cooper was really good yesterday. Really good. And it's funny because he made a ton of tackles, TFLs, but we've seen him play better than that. He didn't have the splash plays with the sacks or the turnovers, but man, is he good. And he's fast and athletic and flies around. He was damn good yesterday, and it kind of gets lost in it because so many other guys around him were really good. Quay Walker had a great game. Van Ness, might have been the best game we've seen Van Ness play. If it wasn't, it's one of the 3 best he's played in his career. It looked like a different player. Looked really good rushing inside. Kobe Wooden, our new nose tackle, right?
Beast.
273 pounds coming out. Now he's the 300-pound nose tackle. Played really nice game for them. Like
Beast.
They didn't miss Kenny Clark at all. No offense to Kenny Clark. Take a shot at Kenny Clark.
All the respect to Kenny.
Detroit tried to run it on him. They were trying the whole first half to run it up the middle on him. They couldn't get it done. Wooden was really impressive. Devontae Wyatt. Go down. That a lot of guys had really good games on that defense, and you can see it starting. You can see the vision of what it could be. And again, like Parsons isn't even at full speed yet, and that makes such a big difference. Like you see the impact he has now, and he's just getting started, just ramping up. Once he really gets full steam ahead and gets to the level that he's played at his whole career, it's going to raise this defense even more. So, do they have the best defense in the NFL? No, I don't think they do right now. But I certainly think they can be a top 10, maybe top 5 defense when all is said and done this year. And we talked about it last week too. After the Parsons trade, they have stars, or about to be stars, at all 3 levels, between Parsons, McKinney at safety, and then the star that Cooper's going to be, and he's going to be a star. So when you have special players like that, 3 levels of your defense, man, that's going to carry you pretty damn far.
Well, and the cornerbacks were certainly not the stars of the game yesterday, but there's still, you got to get Hobbs on the field, which it's not lost on me that Hobbs did not play in week 1, but Jair Alexander did play in week 1. Now, he didn't play very well. He might have been the reason that the Ravens lost, which was absolutely wild, but he did play. So there's that. Anyway, now, we got MICAH Parsons, so all else is forgiven. It doesn't matter. But yeah, you get Nate Hobbs on the field. I really was impressed with Carrington Valentine. There was a play particularly early on where it looked like he was on a corner blitz, and then he chased the play down all the way across the field from behind. That guy, when he puts the pieces together, I feel like he is going to be just as much a cornerstone of this defense as anybody else. Like, he seems like he has what it takes. So I'm very excited about him.
Yeah,
but
sorry, I don't mean to jump in, but
no, jump in.
I'm with you with Carrington Valentine. I know the play you're talking about, and I know there were a couple other. I remember it was a screen outside or a run play that came his way, and he was coming up there physically, showing more physicality than we've seen from him. And I know, whatever his numbers ended up being, they didn't complete much on him. The last touchdown which was a spectacular catch, was, I guess, technically on him, was his guy, but what the hell is he going to do there? That guy just made an incredible catch.
It was an incredible catch.
But yeah, he looked really good. Certainly need to get Nate Hobbs out there. It's not a good sign that they said he had the knee surgery when he did because it would get him ready in time for the season. Well, he's not ready yet, and with a short week, wouldn't expect he's going to play against the Commanders either. Maybe he plays week 3, but need to get him out there. I don't think it was Nixon's best game, or Bullard in the slot. Not saying that they were terrible or anything like that, but you certainly need to get Hobbs on the field, right? And he's going to bring physicality as well. We want to see what he is.
Yeah, and that physicality, it's kind of funny to think about. After the way they played the Lions, to think that you're going to get a cornerback that has the physical mentality that Hobbs does, that you're adding to the group. It's just, man, I am very excited to see the defense go on the field now. And there's not a lot of times over the last 20, 25 years as Packer fans where you're excited for the defense to be on the field. Usually when the defense goes on the field, we're going, don't screw up.
Yeah.
You just kind of cringe and hope for the best. And I certainly remember in the last Super Bowl run that it was exciting to see that defense on the field. It was always exciting to see Chuck Woodson and Clay Matthews, and then you just didn't know, even Nick Collins, you didn't know what they were going to do. They were turnover machines and sack machines, and I feel that way about this defense again. You're excited to see these guys go on the field because they're good. They're turning the ball over. It felt a little bit like that last season when they were getting the turnovers that they were. But now you've got the linebackers playing the way that they are, the pressure that you're getting, not only from the linebackers, but also from the D-line. man, it's a very, very complete defense, and it's exciting. You don't get to see this very often.
Not in Green Bay, you don't.
Not in Green Bay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think biggest factor of all, Joe Barry ain't coordinating this defense. So
no.
He can't, even Joe Barry can't screw this up because he's not there to do
it. Even Joe Barry can't screw this up. Yeah, I mean, so you've got the defense, we got all of this kind of stuff. I do want to bring up a point that a very intelligent football mind brought to my attention earlier today about Jeff Hafley. I think that maybe we're giving him too much credit. I don't know that he's that good of a defensive coordinator, right? Like, he might just have good players around him. He might just be like an all right guy, but he's super lucky. You know what I mean? Like, I think we need more time, like at least 2 or 3 seasons of the guy to see, is he really good? I don't know. I just think that are we getting ahead of things here? Are we jumping the gun, giving Hafley too much credit? I think if we get this out of control, he might go off and get hired as a head coach somewhere. I think we need to pump the brakes. So shout out to Kay Adams for pointing this out. It's an incredible observation, and I think she's right. I don't think Hafley's that good.
I see what you're doing here, and I know why you're doing it. We got to keep Hafley. I want him for as long as we can get him, but let's not worry about it yet. I mean, teams like to hire offensive coaches, right? He's not an offensive coach.
This is true. He's not even an offensive coach, so he can't be any good. Look what happened to Eberflus. Look what happened with that. He blew up the Bears organization. Is that what you guys want? You're going to hire a defensive coach and have him blow up your organization? That's terrible. Don't do that.
Don't do it. That's what you're doing. I'm with you. Keep him forever.
We got to keep these guys honest, So don't be giving Hafley so much credit when these players are just playing really good football.
We're not even sure he's calling the defense, right?
What if he's not? What if it's Quay Walker?
Right, it's all Quay.
And that's why the wheels fell off last year when Quay was injured. I'm gonna start a movement here. Quay's really the defensive coordinator. I think that's Hafley's not that good. Hashtag Hafley's not that good.
Keep him here.
I'll make the sacrifice.
I see what you're doing.
Oh, man. Okay, but speaking of good defensive coordinators, the last time that Matt LaFleur faced this next coach, who was a good defensive coordinator, is now a head coach, was in 2023. So this week, we got the Redskins, man. We got Thursday game. We got a real quick turnaround here. We got Matt LaFleur facing off against Dan Quinn again. What are we looking for here, man?
Well, hopefully it'll be the same kind of offensive performance the last time I saw Dan Quinn, because they lit his defense up. Everybody was open in that game. Yeah.
Well, how do you think this Redskins defense compares to that Cowboys defense? Just loosely. I mean, it's not like we're scouts for the Redskins or something.
Yeah. I based on what they did last year, the Commanders, they weren't good last year, and I know they beat up on the Giants, but I'm not sure what the level of competition there was with the Giants. I'd say the Cowboy defense was better that they faced, because that Cowboy defense had MICAH Parsons. I mean, he don't have anybody like MICAH Parsons at the Commanders, so yeah, I don't think it's as good talent-wise, but it might be improved over where they were last year. And they got to the championship game last year, but it was because of Jaden Daniels, and they won a lot of close games, and the defense was getting some turnovers, but they really weren't that good. They were giving up points and yards and stuff. They're probably better than they were last year. I don't know. Again, they beat up on the Giants, so it's really hard to tell how much better they are or just how inept the Giants are. But I like the matchup a lot for the Packers. I just wish we knew how healthy the offensive line is going to be, right? Because they lost Zach Time, they lost Aaron Banks. If both of those guys are out, or even if just Tom's out, it makes a big difference as far as what they can do and what could potentially, just what they can do. Meaning, like, what LaFleur is going to call, how open up this offense is going to be if they're both out. Maybe he's a little more conservative. So I think that makes a huge difference. But if they're both able to go, I really like the matchup, and I think they can put up points on the Commanders and move the ball pretty consistently on them. But again,
Well, yeah, I guess that's my fault. We didn't really talk much about the offensive performance against the Detroit Lions. I mean, they were sharp too, right? It's easy to get excited about the defense and get all pumped up about what's going on there, but the offense was incredibly sharp. Jordan Love looked like 2023 Jordan Love, and I mean the receivers were catching the ball. We got Matthew Golden. I know he didn't have a big stat line, but he was running around. His speed was on display. I think that there's going to be some things they see on film that they go back to, like, oh, okay, we're gonna play with that. The offense looked great, man. I mean, do you have any complaints from the Lions game? I guess I apologize. I tried to move on too quickly from the Lions game, but do we have any complaints from the Lions game?
Well, I think the run defense and the running game's got to be better, a lot better. But part of that, I think, was opponent and how they were attacking the Packers. I think it's going to get there, so I'm not going to get too upset about the lack of a running game so far. And I think it got better as the game went on. Other than that, no. And to me, offensively, as Jordan Love looked really good in the first half. The receivers made plays. The big shot to Romeo Doubs was awesome to see, because I think last year, no matter which receiver he was throwing that ball to, they wouldn't have caught it. They wouldn't have come down with that.
Yeah.
Or the throw maybe wouldn't have been there where it should have been, too. So they were impressive. The most impressive part of the offense was the pass protection. I thought the line was really good, and the backs were really good in pass protection. Both Brooks and Jacobs did a great job in pass protection. Jordan Love had a ton of time, and that helps any time, but against the Lions and trying to sort out their coverage and wait for his guys to get open down the field, because there were a lot of shots in the intermediate and part of the field. Pass protection was awesome. And I think that was the best part of their offense. That and Love's performance too, but just really happy with the way they were able to protect them in that game. So, yeah, they looked good. They looked sharp in the first half. We got to see it consistently for a full game, but they were going against what probably is going to be a pretty solid defense too. So you got to give credit to the Lions.
Yeah, listen, there were two elite pass rushers in that game, and one of them was not very noticeable.
Yeah.
Like, if you tell me Hutchinson disappears like that, are you kidding me? Like, there's not a Hutchinson on the Commanders that I'm aware of, is there? I'm looking at their lineup right now. I mean, they got some players, but there's not an elite pass rusher that I see.
No, there's nobody on the Hutchinson, MICAH Parsons level. No, but they did have a really good pass rush against the Giants, and the Giants were playing a backup left tackle, so that probably had a lot to do with it. And the Giants just aren't that good. That has a lot to do with it too.
That helps.
Deron Payne can get there. He had a nice game, and Dorrance Armstrong, who used to be with the Cowboys, I think Quinn brought him with him for Washington. He had a good game too, as far as pressures and getting to the quarterback. But no, there's no Hutchinson or anybody even close to as good as him on that team. But if it's Kennard or Belton at right tackle and Jordan Morgan playing left guard, that changes things, right? So I think the injury situation, especially on the offensive line, they have a lot of guys that are nicked up. But especially on the offensive line.
Do we know if Zach Tom is okay? Do we have a status on Zach Tom?
I think on the injury report they said it's an oblique, but it looked.
It looked like he just landed with his full weight on his hip.
On his hip, yeah, and I think maybe that's what it ultimately is. It seemed like a hip injury. It doesn't. It didn't seem like it's anything that's going to keep him out. There's no official word. There's no press conference or anything like that today, but it is very much up in the air. They didn't practice, but they had to put out an injury report, and if they would have practiced, he wouldn't have practiced. But
yes,
they didn't. So it's one of those things. We'll see. I think what hurts him a lot is that it's a Thursday game and not a Sunday game or Monday game, because that probably would give him a better shot to play. But it's hard to say. It doesn't seem like it's anything that's going to keep him out long term. So maybe he just misses the Washington game and he's back the following week with a longer rest. But we'll see. That's a big one in Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks has got another injury. Dealing with the back injury throughout training camp, and now he hurt his ankle. So we'll see there too. But it'll be interesting too how they shuffle the line if those guys are out. Morgan's going to be at left guard if Banks is out. Do they go with Kennard, who was the first guy up after Tom went down, or they go with Belton at right tackle? I would assume it's going to be Kennard, but we'll see. And that's going to change the game plan too.
Yeah, well, and the thing that is a positive sign is that Kennard did so well in filling in for Tom. I mean, again, Hutchinson was a non-factor. You would think if, you're going from one of the best right tackles in the league to his backup, that they would at least try to expose that. And if they did, they weren't successful. So yeah, I mean, I'm just, everywhere I look, I'm impressed. You talk about it. Yeah, it's a short week. Tom probably sits out. Why? Because he can, right? Like, even if he is healthy, give him the week, right? Kennard did fine. You don't have a Hutchinson that you need to worry about, so you can game plan for the types of guys that these guys have. You can figure it out, and you can probably handle most of your one-on-ones if you need to. So give him the time off and let Kennard handle his business. And if he's for some reason just falls off a cliff and starts to struggle, then start shuffling. But you're getting to test the depth already in week 1, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. In this case, it looked like a good thing to me. Now that Kennard can at least hold his own. That's a great thing, So going into this week, am I worried? Like, obviously you want Zach Tom. He's one of the best tackles in the league, right tackles in the league. But the fact that you're going against a guy like Hutchinson, and Kennard was, again, holding his own, and Hutchinson was basically a non-factor. That's a great sign for what you could see here this next week. And again, it's like, all right, well, life without Tom for a week we can manage. It's almost kind of the same as like what happened last year with and maybe to a lesser extent, but when you see that you can win games without Jordan Love, right? It's like, oh, okay, all right, Willis can handle it. All right, well, so the world doesn't have to melt down if something happens, and then you carry on your business. I don't know. I'm very excited about how that all worked out, because it was the opposite of how it went in Philly, right? The wheels fell off whenever you had to go to the backup last year.
Yeah, for sure. And if it's a week without Zach Tom, it sucks. But I think they can handle it. I think they're, make the point. If it's going to be a week, fine. Gets the extra time with Thursday night game, then they don't play till Sunday. Maybe he'll be okay for the following week 3. The only thing with Kennard is, my concern is he hasn't practiced much, because they got him, right at the end of August from the Eagles trade, and then you're not going to practice much. They'll probably just have a walkthrough on Tuesday and Wednesday, so he's not going to get very many reps this week too. So it's
right,
and he's been in the NFL for 3 years, but he actually hasn't played much. He's been with the Chiefs and the Eagles, but he hasn't had much playing time. So I just worry about lack of reps and game experience. But you got him for a reason, right? So if you got to get through a week with him, I think they can do it. Coach him up, get him ready to go, and you're not seeing Aiden Hutchinson this week, which is really helpful. So even though Washington's pass rush looked improved yesterday, they don't have that kind of player that really scares you a whole lot. So maybe it's a good spot for him to be starting.
Well, and what we've gotten to see on the good side of things is when you have a Micah Parsons type player there, that it changes the game plan. Like, you have to adjust your entire offensive line, your entire blocking schemes to find that guy and stop that guy, right? And when there's not that guy, you can be a little bit more in control of what you're doing, right? It's like you're not limited in your calls. You're going to be able to say, look, let's just run this, run that, without thinking, well, how are we going to neutralize this guy so we can get him out of the way so we can run that. And so yeah, that's why I look at this week. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the Commanders are a bad defense. I'm not an expert in their defense. I'm looking at the lineup on PFF, and yeah, they look all right, but I mean, their D line is not intimidating anybody based on their PFF grades, and it's a short sample. So again, like, I wouldn't underestimate them, but there's just not that guy that you have to worry about, So I don't know. I think starting there, it's great. But then you look at like, all right, well, what does the rest of the chess match look like? Oh, yeah, you've got two good tight ends. You've got some fast receivers and some reliable receivers. You got a great running back that can chip away at these guys. You have so many different ways that you can go at them. At this point, you just see what look they give you and you attack the vulnerability of it. It might be a week where Josh Jacobs is going to get a healthy, helping of the football. And look a lot different than he did against the Lions. But we cannot forget, like, the Lions are a pretty damn good defense. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that surprising to me that he didn't have a 200-yard game or, whatever. But I that's where I'm just like, all right, a short week, like, just ride that momentum. Ride the momentum that they've got, because that's going to serve them better than anything. And, the other thing, and I don't know if you got a chance to hear this, Ray Lewis did a podcast this week, and it was an interesting listen, because he talked about sort of the up and coming of the early Ravens defense days, like in 97 and 98, and Marvin Lewis being the DC and all that. And he said something that I'd never really heard anybody describe before the way he did it. But he was saying, that they needed to unleash them. Stop trying to coach them and unleash them, because you got these guys, you got Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and the defensive line there, unleash us, stop trying to coach us and unleash us. And that's kind of how I feel about this game for the Packers defense. Like, don't try to overcoach this one. Unleash them. Like, for the defense, but for the offense, same thing. Like, don't overcoach this, unleash it, right? Take what the defense gives you and then make them pay for the vulnerability they're going to offer, because there will be one. Just make them pay for it, whatever it may be. So yeah, that's the way I look at this. I'm just very excited about how the complementary football is lining up. And oh, by the way, the special teams aren't a liability either. So we're just firing on all cylinders right now. So all right, well, so then we don't know the status of Zach Tom. As much as we'd like to, it's comforting to have seen what happens when he's, plan B is in there, he's not in there. And he holds his own against one of the best pass rushers in the league and a great defensive line. So yeah, I think we're in great shape. Week 2 versus the Commanders here. Starting, let's talk about how the defense matches up against that Commanders offense, because I think the Commanders offense has a little bit more of an intimidation factor than the Commanders defense does. Is that fair?
Yeah, they have Jaden Daniels.
Right.
That's
Jaden,
right.
and not a bad supporting cast either around him.
Yeah, but it starts with Jaden Daniels. Like,
for sure.
The dude's, he looks special as a rookie, and we'll see. A lot of times, sophomore slump and all that. We'll see if it's for real this year. But yeah, you're going to be chasing him. You got to keep him in the pocket. You got to minimize the damage he does with his legs. This can't be a game where you're rushing upfield a whole lot. And I know they played a lot of mobile quarterbacks last season, and they were less aggressive rushing. And yeah, it didn't lead to sacks, but they didn't get killed by running quarterbacks too much last year. I think it's probably maybe the same philosophy for this game, same game plan is be conservative with your rush, stay in your rush lanes, don't let him get out and take off and run or scramble around and make a throw down the field. Try to keep him in the pocket as much as you can with the ball come out of his hands. He's really good and he can throw the ball too. That's the scary part. He's a complete quarterback, but he can really kill you with his legs, and they're gonna have to be very careful of that. And then he's got Terry McLaurin, who I had a quiet game against the Giants, and he missed most of training camp with contract thing. So he's kind of ramping up too. I don't know if we're going to see Terry McLaurin as good as he's going to be, as he's still ramping up and getting into the flow of things. But he's a stud receiver. They added Deebo Samuel. He had a touchdown run yesterday. He looked yesterday at least like the Deebo Samuel when he was with the 49ers, when the good Devo. They were using him in creative ways, and he was catching passes. He was running. He was physical. He's another guy, like, be aware where he's at. You got to tackle him because he's going to try to run through you. So yeah, they have some pieces. Zach Ertz knows how to get open still, even though he's older now. But it starts with Jaden Daniels. Like, you got to contain him. You got to keep him in the pocket. You got to, when you have a shot at him, you got to bring him down, and he'll give you shots. For a quarterback that's not real big, he gets hit, and he gets hit pretty hard. It's going to catch up to him eventually, but You got to bring them down. I don't think they're a really good offensive line either. They're starting a rookie at right tackle if we're trying to pick Connerly. Tunsil's good at left tackle, but then the inside guys are kind of okay, nothing special. So I think the Packers have a big advantage with their defensive line again up front. They got a rookie running back who's been a good story for them, but not sure. We should be scared. We should be too scared of him. But he did have a nice game against the Giants. It starts with Daniels and what he can do, running the ball, throwing the ball. So that's the big matchup for me. It's just containing him, containing the damage he does with his legs.
Well, our friend R. Showers has the solution here. Let Cooper spy Daniels. Problem solved. Next. I mean, you're not wrong.
He's not wrong. It's not that easy, but yeah, Cooper's got to have a big game, and he can't miss tackles, right? You got to bring him down.
Well, and most of us are probably old enough to have PTSD from running quarterbacks. Mike Vick shattered my Packers childhood when he, was the first quarterback to, win a playoff game in Lambeau as a visitor. That hurt. And watching Kaepernick do what he did for those years, that didn't feel so good. Watching McNabb do what he didn't feel so good. There's been a lot of mobile quarterbacks that have broken Packers fans' hearts. So, as I was piping off earlier about saying there's not a team in the NFL that I'm worried about, how do you beat them? If there's anything close to that, it would be, Jaden Daniels, the running quarterback who's also a damn good quarterback. They can make you pay and make you have to make some business decisions about whether you're going to go after him or not. What I was saying about the Packers offense and how they should approach the Redskins defense, it's kind of the same thing that the Redskins are trying to, the Commanders are trying to do to the Packers defense, right? Like, with a mobile quarterback, he forces you into giving him a vulnerability, right? And then he's going to take it. And that's how the read option works. It's usually how it works. If they're scrambling, come get me. All right, I'm going to throw it right over your head. So, yeah, I think that's what I worry about is these guys, not just athletically being able to keep up. I think that box is checked, which is, kind of a first, right? As Packers fans, we're not used to having linebackers athletic enough to hang with the mobile quarterback. I don't worry about that, right? Even Quay Walker and MICAH Parsons ran a 4.3 for crying out loud. These guys are fast. So I don't know that, the sideline to sideline thing, I think they can do it. I think it's covered, but it's the decision making, right? Is he going to bait you into doing something stupid and giving him a vulnerability he can take advantage of? Or are you going to force him into a mistake? I think that's really what it comes down to on the field with between the linebackers and Jaden Daniels. But yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup with him. And again, his supporting cast is no slouch. He's got some guys to dish it to. We've got plenty of nightmares from Deebo Samuel doing what he does. He's a great player. And to think that he's completely washed, I think is silly. He may not be the young man he was, but he's still, as good once as he ever was, for the late Toby Keith. But I wouldn't count him out or write him off or ignore him by any stretch of the imagination. You have to have a game plan for what to do with him when he's got the ball in his hands and how he can get it in his hands. So it's a test. I think that this has the potential to be a little bit more high scoring. I think it was rather predictable that the Lions offense could struggle in week 1 with a new offensive coordinator. Excuse me. I mean, Jared Goff, first of all, when he hasn't been paired with a one of the best minds in football, he hasn't done so well. So you got to see how that goes, With this offense, that's different, man. This offense is firing on all cylinders right now, and you're not dealing with people who are still figuring things out. Like, these guys know what they're doing. They know what they want to do. They know how they want to do it. It's just a matter of you being able to throw a wrench into that system. And I think the Packers can, but it's a tough assignment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a tough assignment. I think it's going to be a close game. And Thursday night games can be weird because you don't have much prep time, especially early in the year like this too, because you're going to see unscouted looks. And again, you don't have that prep time to get ready. The injuries are going to be a factor because they are a little banged up coming off the Lions game. So yeah, it's a tough test. Washington's team won the championship game last year, and they didn't look. They looked really good defensively against the Giants. Our offense wasn't great, but they took care of business. Yes, it's just the Giants, and they're probably a bad team, right? But they took care of business and won that game convincingly. So, absolutely, it's going to be a tough test this week.
Well, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, again, I don't know that the defense is going to give up like 30 points, but
no, I don't think so.
You can't be surprised if they give up a few touchdowns here. McLaurin is going to be a tough one to contain. We'll see if they go man to man with him, or what they do if they try to double him at all. I think you got to take something away and force Daniels to beat you in a way that he doesn't want to beat you. But what is that you're going to take away? I think that's what they're trying to figure out right now. On the flip side, the Packers offense matching up against the Commanders defense. I'm more optimistic about that. Again, I'm not going to say that the Commanders have a bad defense. They've got some good players on there, but they just don't strike fear in me. I don't get worried about any of these players. They got some good linebackers, some decent DBs, but they just feel beatable to me. And I think that this Packers offense is built to be able to score at will, because they can hit you with the run, they can hit you with the pass. They're going to force you to seriously have to consider what they're doing on every play. They can't just say, all right, well, we're just going to take this away and force you to beat us a different way, because you will. They will. If they take away the run, you're going to get gashed over the top. Golden's going to take off on a track meet. You're going to lose. You being the Commanders' defense, the Packers are going to win that one. And same thing, if you back off and try to take that away, Josh Jacobs is going to have a heyday. So I really think that the Packers offense has the upper hand here and being able to take what they give them and put up points the way that they need to here. Is there a specific matchup that you're watching here? Anything interesting going on here?
I think offensively, I run Jacobs a lot. I test their run defense. It wasn't very good last year, so that's where I would start, especially if you're going to be shorthanded on the offensive line. That's a way to kind of protect your offensive line a little bit, at least early. But yeah, I think it's a big Jacobs game. And I think this could be Matthew Golden was a little quiet. I think
he had some looks, though. He had some looks.
Yeah, I think he's not going to be as quiet this game. I'm not saying he's going to put up 150 or anything like that, but I think
I'll say it.
More. I think we're going to see more Matthew Golden this week.
Well, I will say it. I think that he could have a very nice, welcome to the NFL rookie kind of game. 150 yards, 5 catches, 2 touchdowns type game. We'll see, right? Anything could happen, but I don't see the speed that can keep up with him on the Commanders defense. Again, they've got some decent DBs, but I don't see somebody keeping up with a Matthew Golden. You're going to have to bracket him. You're going to have somebody over the top of him at all times, and that is going to cost you dearly. If you go ahead and do that, Tucker Kraft is going to feast. The guys in the middle are going to feast. Reed and Dobbs are going to have a heyday across the middle if you're going to take and bracket coverage over Golden. So, again, they're going to have to pick their poison on this one. This is going to be a fun one for the offensive-minded folks, because I really do think that the Packers have the upper hand. Should be interesting to see. Again, the offensive line, yep, you gotta see what happens. But even – like I said, even with the backups filling in, they've got the depth. They flexed that they can handle that against a good D-line here against the Lions. I have no worries. I think they're going to march in. They're going to put the game plan in that they intend to put in. I don't know that the line changes it at all, and they're going to force the Commanders to give them something. So I don't know. I don't know if I have any bold predictions. I don't see the Commanders being able to shut them down. I think it's going to be a game of whack-a-mole for them. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a frustrating day for them.
Absolutely. Right.
So
I'm with you on that.
Shall we start getting into some score predictions? I know our buddy Matthew Tan already gave us our first score prediction. So you guys in the chat, you got to get your score predictions in here. What are we doing? Thursday night, Packers Commanders. Who's winning? What's the score? I'm trying to dig for Matthew's score prediction here because I don't want to leave him hanging. Here we go. And he's putting it on you first, Tim. He says, Tim, what do you think will happen Thursday? I say Packers 27. And he says Redskins means Commanders 14. 27-14. That's a fair score. I do think that the Commanders have a potential to score more than 14. I'll say that.
Yeah, I do think so too. I like where he's at with the 27, so I was going to go 27-24. I think it's going to be a closer game than that. So, but I'll take the Packers 27-24, maybe a late McManus field goal, and then they get the defense goes out there and closes it out, gets stopped, end it.
Okay. A little dramatic game, you think?
Dramatic. Yeah. I think Daniels. Jane Daniels isn't going to go crazy, but he's going to make some plays. He's good. He's going to make some plays.
He is going to make some plays.
And I think McLaurin is a really tough cover for anyone. And he's a tough cover for the Packers DBs right now. He'll make some plays too, some third downs, pick up some key third down conversions, maybe a touchdown or something in there. It's going to be close, but Packers 27-24.
Okay, 27-24. And our friend R. Showers he says, I don't see us losing in our house. I don't either. I agree with that. Green Bay 24. Guys, I see what you're all doing. Redskins 17. Washington 17. 24-17. That's similar scores. Okay. So I think those are fair predictions. 17 is kind of what I would feel like they could score. I think they'll score like 3 or 4 times. I don't know. I don't think it'll always be a touchdown. I think they're going to hold them to a couple of field goals. Matthew Tan says sack on Parsons. I think I'll say this. I think Parsons gets 3 sacks this week. I think he gets 3. And I think it's because you're going to have to force Jaden Daniels one way or another. And Micah Parsons might just be waiting there ready for him, So I'm calling 3 sacks for Parsons this week. And I am going to say that the Packers offense scores even more. I think they're going to score 38. And I think the defense will hold the Commanders to 20. I'm going to say 38-20.
So that's a comfortable win.
Yes, I think it's going to be a comfortable win. I think they are riding the energy and the momentum of the win over the Lions. Certainly the defense. And the defense definitely from an energy perspective can set the tone for the team. And just to be fair, it's better for the offense to be calm and composed. Like they gotta calculate, they gotta do things. The defense can definitely perform with that high energy a lot better. That kind of chaotic energy. So I love seeing that. I think they're going to ride it. I think it's only going to get higher this week with, the MICAH effect, the Parsons effect. So yeah, man, I think the Commanders are coming into a buzzsaw, and go Pack, go baby, 38-20. Last week I said 35-17. And not on – you didn't give me a hard time. I got a hard time from some other people for that. So I'll accept apologies whenever you'd like. But, I think 38-20 here. I think we're in for another lopsided win.
I would love to see it.
I mean, if I'm wrong, you got to tell me, Tim. These people are relying on you to keep me honest.
That would be 2 statement wins, right? 2 teams that have really good Lions had a really good regular season before they ran into the Commanders in the divisional round. But they won what? 14 games last year. Commanders went to the championship game. You start off the season beating both of them and beating them convincingly. That's a pretty damn good start to the season.
Sends a message.
Yeah.
It sends a message. Says, hey, this Packers team is different now, guys. There's a reason they traded for Micah Parsons. It's not because they were just shooting from the hip and getting excited. It's not Jerry Jones running things in Green Bay. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll see here. I'm excited either way. Like I said, I'm pumped that they've got a short week. I think it's better for them. Ride the energy. They're healthy. There's a couple injuries. Fine. Y'all sit out. Let, next man up. See how that mentality continues to carry on. It worked out well this week against the Lions. Tim, final thoughts about this last week against the Lions or the upcoming week against the Commanders here?
Final thought is that they look damn good against the Lions. That was impressive. And if that's what defense is going to be this season, team can go far.
I agree. I will default to something LaFleur has been hammering on, and I think Goop probably has too. This is a beautiful flash of brilliance that we've gotten to enjoy against the Lions in week 1. Can they be consistent? That has been the big word, consistent. Can they be consistent? Can they do it again this next week? Keep the mistakes to a minimum. Keep rolling on offense. Keep suffocating on defense. Just keep on going. If they can, man, this team feels unstoppable to me. So yeah, we shall see if they can be consistent. I think they can. My money says they can.
That was the big issue last year. How many times did we talk about consistency with the pass rush, with the receivers, the entire team?
But it usually started with an issue first, and then the issue got better, but then it went back. Whereas now we're starting on the good note. So hopefully that's a sign of now we're able to be consistent. So we'll see.
Hopefully they're beyond all that.
What's that?
Hopefully they're beyond all that.
Yes. It feels like they are. I mean, they're maturing. They may be the youngest team in the league, but there's a lot of experience on that roster. A lot of games played.
That's right.
So, all right, we had some fun here Monday night. Week 1 celebrating a victory Monday here, a dominant win over the Lions. Don't let your Lions friends forget it. Who actually is the king of the North. We let them borrow the crown for a couple of years. They can keep it warm for us. We're back for it. The Packers are the kings of the North again. You guys deal with it. If you guys had fun with us tonight, spike that like button. Come on now. Give us a little love. Those reviews, those likes, all that stuff, it really means something. It really does feed the algorithm what it wants. But more importantly, share the show with a friend. Tell a friend, hey, if you're a Packer fan, I guarantee you got friends that are Packers fans. Tell them to come hang out. No pressure. It's not like we're going to make it weird. But we like to have some fun, and the more Packers fans, the merrier. And you know what? We invite NFC North rivals as well. You guys, you little trolls and you trash talkers, come on in. We can handle it. But most importantly, jump on over to the Packers Talk Network YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button for us. It makes a giant difference. Very, very important. Love all you subscribers and you guys that are hanging with us every week. We see you. You're nuts. We love you, and want you to come back with us every Monday night, 9:30, streaming live, talking Pack, and hopefully next week we've got a 2-0 record to talk about. So as always, go Pack, go.